Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yajna Ki. We always start our programs by trying to chant Krishna's names. The effect of chanting is very powerful. In Srimad Bhagavatam, I think it is in the 12th canto, 12th chapter, 58th verse, I think. Oh no, 12:48 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukadev Goswami explains to Parikshit Maharaj the power of chanting the holy names of the Lord. He says, Sankirtyamano Bhagavan Anantaha Shrutanubhavo Vyasanam hi pumsam Pravishya chittam Vidunoti kalmasam Yatha thamo arko Abram ivati vataha. So it's a very important verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. And the verse tells us that when we, as devotees, when we come together and we properly try to glorify the Supreme Lord, when you chant Krishna's names, what you are doing is that you are glorifying Him. Because the names of the Lord are considered to be absolute. Our names are relative. Everything that we do is relative. You could chant a material name in this material world, but the vibrations of the chanting is very different from the chanting of spiritual names. So Parikshit Maharaj is told by Shukadev Goswami, Sankirtyamano. That means when people glorify Krishna, when they chant His holy names, then what happens is they actually get one very great fortune. That fortune is that Krishna personally enters into their hearts. So Bhagavatam tells us that the moment we start chanting Krishna's names, or even if we are not chanting Krishna's names, we simply hear about the power of the names. Sometimes we may be shy, and sometimes you see the audience are very slow to chant. They may be conservative, or it may be very strange for them, it may be very new to them. It happens very often maybe with those who are not used to the culture of chanting. It happens. But Bhagavatam tells us that even if you simply hear the power of the holy name, if you just hear about Krishna, then what happens is Krishna personally enters into your heart. And when He enters into your heart, He cleanses away all the traces of misfortune. Sometimes someone may ask, what is the definition of misfortune? Bhagavatam's definition of misfortune is very simple. Misfortune is when you have an opportunity to take up spiritual life and you forego it. That is misfortune. It's a very nice definition. And actually everyone is given the facility to take up spiritual life. But we have a choice. If our choice is spiritual life is not meant for me now, Bhagavatam labels it as a misfortune. Why? Because in spiritual life, if you take it up seriously, you find that the happiness that you derive from spiritual life is not temporary. It is very stable, it is very permanent. The happiness that you try to derive from material happiness or material life, because material life itself is temporary, we are not going to live forever. So whatever that is material in this nature will also not live forever. So if your attachment, if your happiness is attached to that which will not live forever, then it must end. And when it ends, you will either feel disappointment or your expectations will not be met. And as very often is the case, that is what happens to us. So Sankirtyamano Bhagavan Anantaha. Why are we glorifying Krishna? Because he is known as Ananta. Anant means one who is genuinely happy. When you say someone has happiness, Anant is never used for material happiness. In Sanskrit, Anant is only used for spiritual happiness. In material happiness, the word in Sanskrit for material happiness is Sukh. Sukham. Sukham is material happiness because generally speaking, it comes with a price. But Anand is eternally spiritual. And that's why Bhagavan, Krishna, is also known as Ananta, because he's always very happy. And those who are with Krishna, they are also happy. So Bhagavatam tells us that Krishna comes into our heart personally, just by what we did for 15 minutes, chanting Krishna's names. And whatever trace of misfortune we may have in hearts, he actually cleanses that away. And Bhagavatam says, just like the sun removes darkness and how the powerful wind can drive away the clouds, in the same way, the power of the holy name can remove all our misfortune. So actually coming together to hear about Krishna is something very fortunate, very fortunate. Another point that's very important before we begin the beautiful pastime of Mother Yashoda and Damodara is the point about hearing. The hearing power in spiritual life is more important than even the seeing power. One may take darshan of the Lord, and that's very powerful. But what happens if you're in a situation where you cannot take darshan of the deity? And that can happen very often. Many houses today, even though we may come from the Vedic tradition, but many houses we don't even have a proper altar. We may have some pictures of the Lord here and there. Sometimes we have a statue, but we're not worshipping. And therefore it's very difficult for us to concentrate on Krishna. In temples it's much easier because you take darshan of the Lord and therefore you can see him. But Bhagavatam tells us that even if we cannot see, by hearing about Krishna, one gets to see him. Why is that so? Because the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is absolute. If you see Krishna, you are actually hearing about him. If you hear about Krishna, you have the ability to see him within your heart. Tvam bhakti yogam paribhavita hrit saroja ashe srutikshita pato nanunata pumsam yad yad diyata urugaya vibhavayanti tad tad vapu pranayashe sat anugrahaya. Brahma chants these prayers to Krishna in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And there he says, Tvam bhakti yogam paribhavita hrit saroja. For those devotees who are 100% engaged in trying to please Krishna, ashe srutikshita pato nanunata pumsam. By the mercy of Krishna, whatever that they hear about Krishna, Krishna reveals himself in their hearts. And that is why in the verse that I quoted before, either you chant his names or you just hear about him. Either way, he will cleanse your heart of misfortune. And don't forget the definition of misfortune. Misfortune is when you have the opportunity to take up spiritual life, but you forego it. That is misfortune. In material world, misfortune means when you have the opportunity to make money and you forego it. That is misfortune in the material world. But in the spiritual world, the point is all the money in the world will not make you happy. All right? Because money is not the key to happiness. It is actually inner peace that is the key to happiness. Maybe for a while money may take care of you, but it will never keep your anxiety completely aloof. Anxiety is always there. In fact, people who have more money, I find that in my experience, they find themselves being more anxious because even 1 cent, they find it difficult to part with. and they become very attached to what they have. So Bhagavatam's way is very simple. The more you become attached to Krishna, the more wealthy you become. The less you are attached to Krishna, the poorer you become. So that is spiritual life. In this month of Kartik, 2 weeks before Diwali, 2 weeks after Diwali, all the devotees of the Lord for thousands and thousands of years, we do one thing that's very, very traditional. We come together as we are doing today, and we speak about one particular pastime of Krishna. The pastime of how Krishna bound Mother Yashoda with his love, and how Mother Yashoda bound Krishna with the rope of love. You see this beautiful deity of Mother Yashoda and Krishna, and you see that Krishna is behind a mota, and you see Mother Yashoda has a rope, and she's trying to tie him. It's a very simple pastime. Most of us who have anything, any little knowledge of Krishna, we will know that this is a famous pastime in Vrindavan. But the pastime is actually very deep in significance, and that is the reason why we light lamps and we give it to Krishna during this month. In Kartik month, it is stated by all the sastras that whatever bhakti you do during this Kartik month becomes magnified many times over, because Krishna becomes very pleased. It is a month of mercy. Just like, you have a discounted sale at some point of the year and everything becomes cheaper and you have the ability to purchase it. It is stated that Kartik month is that month where you can actually purchase Krishna, not with money, but with your love and your devotion. That is how you purchase Krishna. So therefore, on the morning of Diwali, this Leela actually happens. So this Leela starts by Mother Yashoda waking up on the morning of Diwali. And when she wakes up in the morning, she takes a bath and she dresses herself very beautifully. She wears this yellow, orange, saffron colored sari. She has malati flowers. She ties her hair very nicely. She adorns herself very beautifully because it's Diwali. But when she comes out, she sees that all the maidservants in the house are all very busy. Mother Yashoda immediately thinks that the first thing I should do is to churn some butter for Krishna. Little Krishna is sleeping at the moment, and Mother Yashoda is taking advantage of his sleeping so that she can churn some butter for him. You all know by now that Krishna and butter have a very intimate relationship. Krishna is known as Makhanchor because he is the thief of butter, and he's a butter thief. In Vrindavan, Krishna would not take butter from his own house, which worried Mother Yashoda very much. Instead, Krishna would go to other persons' houses, the other gopis, the other devotees' houses, and he would regularly not take butter, but he would steal butter. And he would steal butter in such a way that even though the gopis and all the devotees who caught him even red-handed stealing, he was so lovable, so adorable, and so worshipable in their hearts that despite being angry with him, they could not resist the fact that Krishna was all attractive. The name Krishna itself means all attractive. So therefore, what it means is that Krishna can do anything, and that activity. In the spiritual world, Krishna is stealing butter and we are all very pleased, and we hear and relish the pastime. In the material world, if someone steals something, it becomes a crime. And no one will sit down and say, oh, how wonderful, he stole my wallet yesterday. Nobody will say that. But because God is absolute in nature, and because he's all attractive in nature, any activity that he does is completely transcendental. This point we must remember. There is a difference between matter and spirit. The moment we become attached to matter, then we will find that we are on a different plane of happiness and existence. So Mother Yashoda woke up in the morning and she was very focused on one point, that her duty and her mission in life was to please Krishna. And that is the mission of life in life of all devotees. When you ask a devotee, what is the goal of your life? The devotee will tell you, the goal of my life is simply to please Krishna. That's all. And in whichever way we can please Krishna, we will please him. But it's very important for us to know what pleases Krishna. Sometimes if you want to please someone, the common sense thing is to know that person first. Then you know what he likes and what he doesn't like. Someone may like something and not like something. But if you don't know that person, how do you please him? So therefore, knowledge of Krishna is very important, which is why we have the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Unfortunately, because we don't read or study or practice these scriptures, we are not able to know what what pleases Krishna and what doesn't please Krishna. But the devotees of the Lord, they may not. Like Mother Yashoda was not educated. She didn't have degrees, she had never gone to university, but her heart was devoted to Krishna. So whatever Krishna wanted, that she knew would please him. And therefore she endeavored to always please Krishna. Which is why she knew Krishna loved butter. And she thought, instead of him stealing butter everywhere, at least on Diwali morning, let me make the best butter. So what she would do is she would feed the best cows that she had with the best grass. And these cows produced the best butter. And she would take the milk and she would churn it and churn it and churn it. And eventually it would become butter. So Mother Yashoda that morning dressed up very nicely, and then she picked up the churning rod and she started churning. Now, if you know, maybe your grandparents or great-grandparents, some of you may have seen people in the villages actually still churning butter. It's not so common nowadays in India, but it's still possible to see it. And if you see it, or if you've had the fortune of doing it, you'll realize it's as good an exercise as going to the gym downstairs, right? It's really powerful. You need a lot of power to keep churning. You know, your shoulders, your arms, everything goes. So Mother Yashoda didn't have to go to the gym like we do, because every day she was just churning butter. So she started Diwali morning with labor, because it was laborious to churn butter. We normally want to start Diwali morning a little relaxed, because we don't want to get into all of that. But the devotee of the Lord is very happy to labor for Krishna, because he knows or she knows that that pleases Krishna. So one important quality of a devotee is what we call granatascha swachestitam. Granatascha swachestitam. Swa means personally, and granatascha and chestitam means that we put our own personal endeavor into bhakti. That is very important. You know, in this material world, we have the habit of outsourcing everything. I delegate this work to you, I delegate that work to you, you know. Supposing someone tells us to do something, we take the service, then we call this person, that person, you do this, you do that, but we don't do the service. Well, you could do it in the material world, that's considered efficient. But in the spiritual world, that's considered inefficient. Because in the spiritual world, you don't outsource bhakti, you perform it. Because bhakti is a platform of your relationship between you and Krishna. And the more you endeavor for someone you love, the more satisfaction they get. Isn't it true even in the material world? When you see the object of your love, you naturally want to endeavor for them. It doesn't matter, you know, even if it's painful or difficult, but you still endeavor with pleasure. So Mother Yashoda endeavored to churn butter, Bhagavatam says. And as she churned butter, what was she thinking of? Sometimes when we do our daily chores, our mind is all over the place. We're thinking of what to do here, what to do there. You know, we're planning our timetable for the day. Sometimes we are complaining in our head, why do I have to work so hard? But Mother Yashoda was not doing that. Mother Yashoda, Bhagavatam says, was remembering the childhood pastimes of Krishna. And as she remembered the childhood pastimes of Krishna, she became more and more ecstatic. She did not feel that she was laboring. Because the pastimes of Krishna are transcendental, and it relieves us of material fatigue. As she remembered the childhood pastimes of Krishna, she started composing songs and she started singing Krishna's names. And in that way, she was completely engaged. You know what is the definition of bhakti in Shastras? Bhakti is defined as sarva upadi vinirmuktam. In other words, whatever senses that we have, if we use them in the service of Krishna, that is bhakti. We all have 5 senses. If we use the sense of hearing like we're doing now to hear about Krishna, that is bhakti. If we use our eyes now to look at Krishna, that is bhakti. If we use our nose, our smell, right, to smell the aroma of tulsi leaves which are offered to Krishna, that is bhakti. If we actually use our hands to clean the altar for Krishna, if we use our legs to take a walk to see Krishna, if we bow before Krishna and our sense of touch touches the floor, if we do any service for Krishna, all of these employs our senses, isn't it so? And by employment of our senses become purified. So when you take up spiritual life, you don't have to artificially control your senses. You see the point? You just have to engage them in the right place. Otherwise, very often we think of meditation, and we think that meditation means I can sit down and I can control my senses. But trying to control your senses without resting your senses on the form of the Lord is very difficult. Very difficult. I have an uncle who keeps telling me that you should do meditation. He says, I sit down and I just meditate on the void, and 3 hours I'm meditating. His grandchildren tell me 3 hours he's sleeping, but he thinks he's meditating. So actually, meditation in Kali Yuga is very difficult, because how do you concentrate on something which has no form? It's practically impossible. But the moment you have an object of love, like Mother Yashoda did as she was churning the butter, it becomes so pleasing, because you know you're doing it for Krishna. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, there is a shloka 5-7 of Bhagavad Gita. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma, vijitatma jitendriyaha, sarva bhutatma bhutatma, kurvan api na lipyate. The meaning is very nice. The pure soul, the pure devotee, he or she works in such a way that they engage all their senses in the service of the Lord. And such a soul works in pure devotion. And such a soul is loved by everyone because they are connected to Krishna. And such a soul does not get touched by any sinful reaction. This is the way to become free of worries. This is the way to become free of anxieties. When you meet devotees who are engaged in Krishna consciousness, you realize that though they are very much part of the material world, they work, they have families, but they are not anxious, because they are always absorbed in activities for Krishna. So Mother Yashoda looked very ordinary, but her activities were extraordinary, because they were used for Krishna. And because she was churning butter so nicely, Krishna was in the other room, woke up, and he came to reciprocate his mother's love. And he stopped her from churning butter, and he indicated to her that he wanted milk because he was thirsty. So Mother Yashoda stopped her activity, and she put little Krishna on it, and she started feeding him. As she fed him, she was smiling with so much of affection, and Krishna was reciprocating his affection for her. And while he was actually feeding from her, Mother Yashoda realized that she had put a pot of milk on her stove, and it was boiling over, but the pot of milk was meant for Krishna. So she was in a bit of a spot, an awkward situation. Should she stop feeding Krishna, who hadn't fed fully, and who would definitely become upset if you put him down? But by doing so, she will forego the milk which was meant for Krishna. Or should she go and get the milk and save the milk and come back and quickly feed Krishna? Mother Yashoda thought, let me save the milk. Krishna can just keep quiet for a while. But children can't keep quiet. Look at these children. I don't know how many times they've gone in and out. 20 times maybe, I'm counting 10. But they can't keep still. It's very difficult for them to keep still. So if they can't keep still, do you think Krishna could have kept still? He would not. He is the origin of these children. So whatever they have, he has many, many times over. But Mother Yashoda took a chance. She quickly walked to the kitchen, pot of milk, and she thought everything is fine. She walked back and she saw that Krishna wasn't there. She saw the pot of butter she was lovingly churning had been smashed, and butter was on the floor. She did not realize that when she was gone, Krishna became very upset with her. Bhagavatam tells us that Krishna became reddish in his face. He felt, Mother has not finished feeding me, but she has just left me just like that. I am going to punish her. Have you had occasions when your children tell you, I'm going to punish you? Sometimes they do that. They may not tell you, but believe me, in their heads they are telling, I'm going to punish Mother. I'm not going to talk to her. I'm going to sulk. So Krishna decided, I'll do that. And what did he do? He took a stone and he broke the pot of butter. And when he broke the pot of butter, then he regretted his actions, which is also very childlike. Many children do that. They do something and then they realize, oh, there is a consequence to that. And Krishna realized now Mother Yashoda will be upset. So he decided, let me steal some butter. Anyway, I'm going to get in trouble. But let me take the butter and let me run. And when Mother Yashoda came back, Krishna was not there. Now, Mother Yashoda was thinking to herself, this boy is very mischievous. I just put him down for a while and he breaks the pot and he runs away. Now, Mother Yashoda decided, today is Diwali. I have so much work to do. He's running all over the place. And now I'm becoming worried for him. I'm worried that he will grow up to become a criminal because he's a thief. He's going everywhere and stealing. And what are people thinking of me? Everybody must be thinking, why is it that Yashoda Mata is buying butter for Krishna? Poor Krishna, he must be starving in his own house. That's why he's going to everybody else's house and he's actually stealing butter. So Mother Yashoda decided, today I'm going to discipline Krishna. So she took a stick and she told herself, I'm going to take a stick. And when she took the stick, then she started finding Krishna. Wasn't difficult because Krishna had stepped all over the butter. There were footprints with butter. All she had to do was follow it to the storeroom. And in the storeroom, there were so many pots of butter hanging. Why they were hanging? Because Krishna was very tiny. And Mother Yashoda was hopeful that if he was small, he couldn't reach the height of the butter pots. But she saw an amazing sight. She was just at the door. She didn't go in, but she saw an amazing sight. She saw Krishna standing on this mortar. You know, this mortar is very big. It's meant to grind spices. And so Krishna was standing on the mortar. He was tiptoeing because he's still very small. And he had a stick like Mother Yashoda. And with that stick, he was breaking the pots of milk and butter. And so milk and butter were just pouring out. And as they were pouring out, Krishna was taking them. Of course, he was eating them, but he also had his friends. Krishna had called all his best friends in Vrindavan to come and join him in this criminal act of stealing butter. And who were the friends? They were the monkeys of Vrindavan. And when Mother Yashoda watched, she was actually smiling to herself. But of course, when you see your child doing something wrong, but still the child is very adorable, parents will know that we can't smile in front of the child because then the child knows, it's okay, I'll get away with it. So Mother Yashoda was thinking very carefully, but she didn't realize that this exchange between Krishna and the monkeys was not an ordinary exchange between friends. To her, it looked like Krishna was feeding them and they were feeding Krishna. But our acharyas tell us that these monkeys are actually very great souls. They are not animals. The monkeys in Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada said, are mostly great sages and great spiritual realized souls who somehow or another could not finish their perfection of spiritual life. But somehow or another, because they were trying to do that, Krishna gives them the benediction to come back to Vrindavan, even if they are in the form of animals. But these specific monkeys were even more special. These monkeys were the Vanaras who served Lord Ram as a monkey army in Ramayana. And that was in Treta Yuga, which was millions of years before Krishna would come in Dwapara Yuga. Now, when Lord Ram had conquered the army with the help of the Vanaras, he became so pleased with the Vanaras that he asked them, any benediction that you want from me, ask, and I will give it to you. But the monkeys are pure devotees of the Lord. And when one is a pure devotee, one never will ask for any material benediction. Because the devotee knows that a material benediction is no benediction at all. If you ask for a good wife, good husband, good family, good car, they will never last. Eventually they must go. A devotee is not foolish to think that that is the source of my happiness. A devotee's mood is, Krishna, and this is what the Vanaras told Lord Ram, we do not want anything material from you. There's a beautiful prayer by another devotee in Bhagavatam, 6th canto. That devotee's name is Vritrasur. Vritrasur made a beautiful prayer in Bhagavatam. Nanaka prishtam, na chapyarameshtam, na sarva bhaumam, na rasadipatyam, na yoga siddhir, apunar bhavamba, samanjasatva, virahaya kangshe. He says in that verse, I don't want to be the Lord of the higher worlds like Swargaloka. I am not interested to be the Lord of all of earth. I'm not even interested to be the Lord of all the nether regions of the world. I don't even want liberation from this material cycle of birth and death. I don't want any of this if it doesn't give me an opportunity to serve Krishna's lotus feet. This is the mood of a devotee. So the Vanaras said only one thing: Lord Ram, if you come back to this world again, let us be able to come back to serve you. That's all we want to do. And so Lord Ram said to them, so be it. And the beautiful transcendental quality of Krishna is that when he makes a promise to a devotee, he never breaks it. He will never break it. And so Krishna, as Lord Ram, gave the benediction to the monkeys that when he comes back, they will come back to serve him. And so he came back as Krishna, and the Vanaras came back as his good friends. In fact, there was an upgrade, because in Ramayana, the Vanaras served Lord Ram in the mood of awe and reverence. You know, Lord Ram was Maryada Purushottam, so he was always a little bit aloof. You never see Lord Ram like Krishna, where he was just playing with the residents of Vrindavan. He was a king, so he played his part as a king. And the Vanaras served him with awe and reverence. But when Krishna comes as Krishna in Krishna Leela, the Vanaras were no longer looking at him with awe and reverence. They were his playmates. They were in the forest with Krishna. When Krishna tended to the cows, they would play games with him. And now in this storeroom, they were eating from his hand and he was eating from their hands. So therefore, this is the mercy of the Lord, that if you have a desire to serve Krishna, Krishna will always create an opportunity for you to fulfill your desire. But if you have material desires, then Krishna may give you the material desires, but they implicate you in this material world. Because every material desire that needs to be fulfilled will incur karma. And karma binds you to this material world. But every desire to serve Krishna is free of karma, and it frees you from the material world. And that is why the monkeys were very peaceful, until they all saw Mother Yashoda. When they saw Mother Yashoda, they scrambled out, butter or no butter, they all left the room within minutes. Now Krishna was seated on the mota, nicely licking butter. When he saw all his friends left, he knew there must be someone behind him whom the friends must have become very scared of. When he turned around and saw Mother Yashoda, the object of his love, generally whenever Krishna saw Mother Yashoda, he would run to her and embrace her. But today he did not run to her and embrace her because Mother Yashoda was not alone. She had a stick, and he knew he had just stolen butter from his own house. So he knew he was in trouble. So what did he do? He jumped off the mota. He looked very afraid, and instead of running to his mother, he started running away from his mother. Mother Yashoda thought, all right, Krishna is being extra naughty today. I'm going to catch him. And so Mother Yashoda started running after Krishna. Now generally mothers, when your children were young and they were running, you know you can catch them at some point because they can't run very far. But Mother Yashoda thought the same thing. She thought, Krishna is so small, let him run, I'll catch him anytime. But the moment she was almost close to catching him, Krishna would be half a feet ahead. When she was just going to catch his dhoti, he would be 1 foot ahead. And every time she thought she was going to catch Krishna, Krishna would be ahead of her. Now this is the morning of Diwali, and she was still chasing Krishna up to noon. And she was getting very tired. Mother Yashoda, had a long day. She started the day churning for Krishna. That was labor. Now she had to chase after Krishna. That was labor. Bhagavatam says the nice multi flowers she had fell. All the hair that she had set up very nicely became disheveled. But she was very tired. And she kept running after Krishna. But she didn't know why she couldn't catch Krishna. Bhagavatam tells us no one can catch the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yogis are trying to catch Krishna. Mystics are trying to catch Krishna. Even demons are trying to catch Krishna. But their mood of trying to catch Krishna is wrong. There was a demon known as Kalayavana. Kalayavana wanted to attack Krishna and attack the forces of Krishna in Mathura. On the same day that Jarasan came to attack Krishna in Mathura, that same day Kalayavana came. He came from the south and Jarasan came from the north. So Krishna told Balram, you take your army and you fight Jarasan. I'm going to fight this Kalayavana. So Krishna came out on a chariot, and Kalayavana was on the chariot, and he thought that he's going to have a fight with Krishna. To his surprise, Krishna got off the chariot, put down all the weapons, and started walking towards Kalayavana. Kalayavana thought, okay, so Krishna wants to wrestle. It's an arm-to-arm combat now. So he put down all his weapons. He started walking towards Krishna. But to his surprise, Krishna just walked past him and started walking away from him. And now Kalayavana thought, this Krishna is a coward. He's running away from me. So then he started running after Krishna, just like Mother Yashoda ran after Krishna. Same activity, but the consciousness was very different. Mother Yashoda was running after Krishna out of love. Kalayavana was running after Krishna out of envy and for lust of power. He thought, let me defeat Krishna. Therefore, he was envious of Krishna. But the more Kalayavana tried to catch Krishna, Krishna would be half a foot ahead. He would be 1 foot ahead. And he was just walking. If you have been to India, and most of you are from India, you will know that this walking pastime of Krishna is known as Rancho Rai. If you have been to the temple of Rancho Rai, you will see the deity of Krishna. And that deity comes from the pastime of walking. He was just walking, and Kalayavana was chasing. And Kalayavana chased him all the way to a dark cave. And then Kalayavana thought, now I have Krishna. Because demons see very well in dark. And he thought, I will catch Krishna. He went into the cave, and at the junction of the cave, he saw a figure that was lying down with a shroud. He thought, this Krishna is coward number 1. He runs away from me, and now he's trapped in a cave. And what is he doing? He's lying down under the blanket and shivering. So I'm going to destroy him today. So he walks to Krishna, and he kicks the figure. The figure wakes up, but it's not Krishna. It is the great king and devotee of Krishna, Muchukunda. Muchukunda was sleeping in that cave because he got the benediction of the Devatas whom he helped defeat the Asuras. That because of his hard work, he would sleep for many, many, many years. Frankly speaking, I like that benediction. If I could sleep, untouched for many years, it would be very nice. But he had that benediction. And he had the benediction that whoever wakes him up from his sleep, he had the power to destroy them because he didn't want his sleep disturbed. He only wanted to see Krishna when he wakes up. So when he woke up unceremoniously and he saw this demon Kalayavana, Muchukunda just stared at him, and by the power of his austerity, the demon turned into ashes. So those who are running after Krishna out of envy, the only result of that running is destruction. Mother Yashoda was running after him out of love. But finally she told Krishna, Krishna, please stop running so that I can catch you. When Krishna heard this very sincere, loving plea of Mother Yashoda surrendered to Krishna and asked him to stop. When Krishna heard Mother Yashoda, he surrendered to her and he stopped. This is the exchange between devotee and Krishna. Devotees and Krishna have such a loving exchange that even though Krishna is Swarad and independent, he becomes dependent on his devotees. Amazing, isn't it? There is a very nice story told to us by our Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada told us that one time there was a Prime Minister of UK. His name was Mr. Gladstone. That was before Winston Churchill. If you do your history, you know him. Now, one time there was a diplomat who had come from the US, and he wanted to see Mr. Gladstone. So he was waiting outside for a while, and the secretary kept telling him the Prime Minister is busy. After a long time, the diplomat said, this is too long. What is he doing? Nobody's coming in, nobody's coming out. So he opened the door and he peeked in. And he had a very big surprise. He saw Prime Minister Gladstone, who was quite elderly, and he saw a little boy sitting on top of him. And the Prime Minister was on all fours and walking around like a horse. And the little boy kept telling him, Grandpa, Grandpa, faster, faster, faster. And the diplomat actually wrote historically that here I was seeing the Prime Minister of what was probably one of the greatest empires of the world. To everybody else, he was a Prime Minister. But to his grandson, he was just a grandfather. He did not have any pride. He did not have any dignity. He was just very simply on his all fours. That is a very crude but easy example to understand of how Krishna behaves with his devotees. He may be the most powerful being in all the universes. But because of the love that devotees give him, he is ready to play the part of a son. He is ready to play the part of a handpicked husband as he did to Satyabhama. He is ready to play the part of anybody as long as a devotee is reciprocating with him. You see the difference? So Mother Yashoda surrendered to Krishna, and Krishna surrendered by saying, I will stop running. And now Mother Yashoda caught Krishna, but she was very afraid and very sad, because when she caught Krishna, she saw, and later you will see, Krishna was not smiling at her. He was actually crying because Krishna was very afraid. And this is another amazing thing. Fear personified is fearful of Krishna. Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, is fearful of Krishna. All the demons are fearful of Krishna. And yet Krishna is fearful of an ordinary housewife like Mother Yashoda. Why? Because of his love for her. So Krishna was shaking. He was crying and shaking. There was, it is stated, Kalilanjana Sambramaksham. He had this mascara, kajal, that Mother Yashoda would put for him every morning. And because he was crying, right, all of that was being smeared on his face. When Mother Yashoda saw the terrible, sorry state of Krishna, her heart melted. Parents, you know that feeling. When your child starts crying, you want to still be very strict, but in your heart, you're starting to melt. And you know what? The children know that too, right? All you children know that when you start crying, your mothers or your fathers, I don't know about your mothers, but I know the fathers definitely start saying, never mind, don't do this to her or don't do this to him. So normally the fathers give up faster. But here, Mother Yashoda saw her son, her beloved Krishna, and she saw that he was in difficulty. So what she said to herself was, why should I discipline Krishna like that? I will put the stick down and I will not discipline him. And Krishna became peaceful. But she told Krishna that I am now going to tie you. And so she took Krishna to the mota and she said, Krishna, stand still. And she decided to tie him. Why did Mother Yashoda want to tie Krishna? Because he was very naughty. And she felt that he would be so restless that if she left him to be, she would never get anything done on Diwali. So she said to herself, let me tie Krishna. And so she tied Krishna, or tried to tie Krishna. But she could not. Because the ropes that she took, it only came in front of him, but it was 2 fingers short. She took more rope and she tried to tie Krishna, and it was still 2 fingers short. She tried again with all the ropes from her neighbors' houses, and it was also 2 fingers short. And Mother Yashoda was smiling and thinking, what is it with Krishna? Everything is difficult. I have to churn butter. He has to break the pot. I have to run after him. Now I can't even tie him. Krishna was not obese, He was not so fat that you had a huge rope. He was quite thin, but he had a small belly. And still he could not be tied. So for the 3rd time that day, on the basis of her endeavor, Mother Yashoda turned to Krishna and said, Krishna, please allow me to tie you. And Bhagavatam says, when Krishna saw that Mother Yashoda was surrendered to him, he surrendered to her. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who cannot be tied down because he's independent, he became tied, not by the rope, but by the love of his mother. The rope was just an instrument, but the platform was actually love. And so Mother Yashoda bound Krishna, and the 2 fingers that Bhagavatam says that were short, they represent 2 very important qualities that we must attain before we can bind Krishna. The first quality is our endeavor. There must be endeavor when we take up spiritual life. Sometimes we say, Krishna is in my heart. He knows everything. I don't have to endeavor and I will leave it to him. That's not a relationship. A relationship is always premised on endeavor. Someone sacrifices for somebody and somebody sacrifices for someone. And we don't count the sacrifice. Today you did this, today you didn't do that. It is an exchange. So we cannot think that we don't have to endeavor for God. We endeavor so much in this material world, right? In fact, Bhagavatam says we endeavor like donkeys in the material world. So much so, like horses have foam coming out of their mouth, we also end up looking like we have foam coming out of us. That's how we labor in this material world. And yet, when we want to labor for God, that labor comes later. When I'm a bit older, my children will be settled, Then after that, we'll give another excuse. Oh, the children are settled, now we need to get them married. Then after that, another excuse. Oh, they got married, son-in-law, daughter-in-law issues are there, we still have to stay. Then later the grandchildren come. Oh, I'll take care of the grandchildren. And in the end, we never have time for Krishna. Never have time for Krishna. We only have time to see Yamaraj when he comes. But we don't have an appointment with Krishna. So this is something very important. The second finger is the finger of mercy. When one endeavors for Krishna, Krishna will give his mercy. He reciprocates with his mercy. And that's what he did to Mother Yashoda. And so Mother Yashoda became very peaceful because she finally tied Krishna. And she walked away to do her duties. But Krishna would not stay still for long. And he decided, now my mother has tied me with the rope of love. But I have another devotee who has also tied me with a rope of love. And now I must fulfill his promise. And Krishna started crawling. The motor, which was vertical, turned crosswise and became horizontal. And as Krishna crawled, the motor started moving with him. Krishna crawled through the garden of Nanda Maharaj, between two big trees, which are known as Yamal Arjuna trees. And as he moved towards the end of the courtyard, he went through the trees because he was very tiny. But the motor got stuck. Krishna pushed the motor a little bit and the trees came crashing down. And when the trees crashed, in the place of the trees were two beautiful effulgent devatas. Krishna asked them who they were. And they said that they were Manigriva and Nalakuvera. And they said that our history is very amazing. We have been waiting as trees for 100 Devata years so that we can be delivered by you. And Krishna said, why did you become trees? And they said, many thousands of years ago, we were the sons of Kuvera. You all know Kuver? Kuver is the presiding deity for wealth. So if you have a father who has unlimited wealth, chances are you're going to waste your life away or you're going to be very enterprising. But in this case, the two sons were completely wasting their time. They became very intoxicated with pride that we have such a great upbringing. And so in that mood, not only were they intoxicated with pride, but they wasted their life in actual intoxication. And one day when they were swimming in the Mandakini river, they were so drunk that Narada Muni passed by, the great devotee of the Lord, and instead of getting up to greet him with clothes, they came out completely without clothes, and they stood before him in a drunken stupor. Narada Muni looked at them, and he began to speak. He said to them, to whom does your body belong? Your body is so precious. This human life is so precious. Because only in human life you have the ability to reason and understand your purpose of life. Yet because of your intoxication, you have wasted your purpose of life. You were born into a family of devotees. Kuver is a great devotee of Krishna. Yet you have not taken opportunity and you have wasted the chance. Therefore, I will curse you. Now, Narada's curse is very interesting. Narada told them, I curse you to become trees. Why? Because trees don't put on clothes, isn't it? You also don't want to put on clothes, so you become trees. Trees also don't have very good consciousness. Your consciousness is as bad as the trees. You become trees. But I pray to Krishna that when you become trees, you will have the power of recollection of what you have done in your previous life. And in that way, you will stand for 100 Devata years. And one day I pray that Krishna will see you face to face and he will deliver you from your fallen existence. After saying that, Narada left. Now people may think that's a curse, but Acharyas tell us that's a blessing. Because Narada was compassionate to the boys and he showed them the truth that if you want spiritual life, you must first repent your material existence. Repentance is very powerful in Bhagavatam. Every devotee who has made a mistake, if they sincerely repent to Krishna, Krishna always accepts them. Repentance is a very powerful thing. And so these two boys, because they had the power of remembering their past life, they had the power to think about what they did. And they had the power to have genuine remorse and repentance. And that purified them. They purified them to such an extent that Krishna, after his Leela with his mother, he knew that Krishna remembered that thousands of years ago, Narada prayed for these two boys. And so Krishna decided, when my devotee makes a prayer for the well-being of others, it is my duty to uphold that prayer. This is the mood of Krishna. And so Krishna came to deliver these two boys, but he told them one very important thing. I have not come to deliver you on the strength of anything else except the association of mercy of Narada, and because you are genuinely repentant. And then Krishna says, Narada is such a dear and affectionate devotee of mine that whatever prayer he has, it becomes my duty to fulfill that prayer. And so today, I deliver you on the strength of your sadhu sangha with Narada. Which closes the story and this Leela on a very important note. If we want to make progress in devotional life, the best way to do it is to take the association of devotees. The more we take association of devotees, the more in their company we also become purified. You know, it is stated, in the company of drunkards, even if you don't drink, eventually you will drink. But at the same time, it is stated that in the company of saintly persons, even if you are a drunkard, you can become saintly. Company is so important. The people you keep association with is very often the people you become influenced by. If we keep the association of devotees, common sense will prevail, and we will also become devotees. And that is what happened to the two boys. So this pastime is a very interesting pastime. In this pastime, Mother Yashoda bound Krishna with a rope, but actually she bound him with love. The monkeys, they bound Krishna also with their love. And that's why Krishna exchanged loving pastimes with them. And Narada Muni also bound Krishna with his love, with a promise of prayer that he made thousands of years ago that Krishna fulfilled. But in this pastime, you only see one rope, but there are two other ropes in the pastime. One rope was by the Vanaras, and the other rope is by Narada. And this is the greatness of this Leela. And that is why today, during Kartik month, we come together and we light a lamp and we offer it to Damodara. We offer it to him because we remember his pastime. And our prayer to him is, please remove all darkness of ignorance in our heart. And please replace that with the lamp of knowledge. Because only with transcendental knowledge can we really understand Krishna. Thank you very much for your time, Prabhus and Matajis, and for being so patient to hear this Leela. This Leela can be chanted every day. In fact, we've been having a program every day of the week. And every day we are saying the same Leela. But it never loses its potency. And we never get tired of repeating it. Why? Because it's spirit, not matter. You chant Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola 100 times, and after a while you become thirsty, but no Coca-Cola is there. But you chant Krishna, 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 Krishna 100 times, and you will never feel materially unsatisfied. You become completely satisfied. That's the power of the holy names. So what we're going to do is, we are going to chant this very famous prayer of Damodara Ashtakam. Okay? Mataji, how are they going to chant? Do we have copies? Or, okay, if you don't have copies, can I suggest you have your mobile phones, right? Now's a good time to use them. And use them for the right reasons. You just have to Google Damodara Ashtakam. Right? Damodara Ashtakam. And if you look at it, you will find the prayers of Damodara Ashtakam there. Try to do it and you will see it. It starts with Namamishwaram Sachit Ananda Rupam. Okay? So it's known as Damodara Ashtakam. If you find it in your mobile, just get it ready. Because the devotees will come forward now, and we see our two heroines. They are going to get the achaman here, right? Now everyone will come forward one by one. Now what's going to happen is they will give you a little drop of water. It's called achaman. Don't drink it. Take it and purify your hands with it. Now you are prepared to take the lamp. Take the lamp and offer it to Damodara offer it to his form of Laddu Gopal, and then put the lamb down. I don't know where you're going to put the lamb down. There must be a place to put the lamb down, and then everybody will be ready. Okay, Mataji? Do you have any questions? Okay, fine. Then ask the question.
So, what is more important, the Sangha of devotee or the sins which you've done? Because, I mean, of course, the sins are not important, but in this particular pastime of the Kugela's son, they committed so much of sins, and just because Narada was kind to them, they actually got the darshan of
Krishna. Yeah.
How?
Because of Narada. The mercy of Krishna or his devotees is so powerful that if they feel that you are repentant or you have the ability to be repentant, they can give you the shortcut to Krishna. You don't have to take the long cut of doing prayaschitta and this and that to get rid of your sins. But you must be repentant. You must tell Krishna that you are not going to do this again. If you promise Krishna, I promise you I'm not going to do this again, and tomorrow you do it again, then it's you have only yourself to blame, because you are creating your own impediments to Krishna. Devotees may pray and pray and pray so much for you, but effort must also come from your part. These boys were given the remembrance of their previous life, and they repented because they remembered what they did. If we know what we have done is not correct, then it is our duty to make sure we don't repeat it again. Then Krishna becomes merciful. Then the devotees become merciful. Is that helpful? So we must do our part, and Krishna will do his part. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so let's chant. Oh, this is a big group here. All right. Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat kundalam go kule prajamanam But you must be able to play it properly. Can you guarantee me that? Then it's inside here. It's in my bag. But play it well. Yashoda biyolu kaladhava mahanam Param rishtahamadyan tato drutya gopya Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat kundalam go kule brajamanam Try, Prabhu. Yashoda biyolu kaladhava mahanam Param rishtahamadyan tato drutya gopya Your turn. Rudantam muhurnetra yugmam rijantam karamboja yugme nasatam karnetram muhu swasakampa trirekha kathanta Sthita graivam damodaram bhakti bhadam Jai Damodar ji ki Iti स्वामी आनन्दकुन्दे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तमख्यापयन्तम् हरि हरि तदीयेषितान्येषु भक्तैषितार्थं पुनः प्रेमहतस्तं सता वृत्तिवन्दे मोक्षवदिं न चान्यं मृणेऽहं वरिष्ठारपिह जय यशोदा माता की इदं देव पूर्णात गोपालबालं सदा मे मनस्या विरास्तां मन्ये जय बाल गोपाल की इदं ते मुखाम्बोजम् अद्यन्तनीलं वृतं कुन्तलैस्निग्धरत्नैश्च गोप्या अलम लक्षलाभे नमो देव दामोदर अनंत विष्णु प्रसीद प्रबोध कजलाभिमग्नम् जय दामोदर जी की कृपा दृष्टि विश्याति दिनं बतानि ग्रहाणे क्षमामग्न्यम् एदाक्षि दृशया त्वया मोक्षिता भक्ति भज कृता च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकं मे प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे ग्रहो मे स्थितमोदरे धाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिधाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायात विश्वस्य धाम्ने जय वृंदावन धाम की नमो राधिकायाय त्वदीया प्रियाय नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् श्रीमती राधा रानी की नमो राधिकायाय त्वदीया प्रियाय नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol. I can't hear anyone. You're very soft. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Bol. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Holy name. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Jaya Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara, Yashoda Damodara. Jai Damodar Ji ki. Jaya Radha Damodara, Radha Damodara, Shri Radhe. Jayo Radhe, Jayo Radhe, Jayo Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Vrindavana Dham, Vrindavana Dham, Vrindavana Dham, Jaya Vrindavana Dham. Jai Vrindavan Dham ki. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Nittai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nittai Gaura Haribo, Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Shri Yashoda Damodar Ji ki, Jai Shri Radha Damodar Ji ki, Jai Vrindavan Bhumi Dham ki, Jai Shri Giri Govardhan ki, Jai Shri Krishna Balaram Ji ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gurudev ki, Ananta Kori Vaishnavrinda ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande. So thank you very much, Prabhus and Matajis, for coming together. 1.5 hours. 10 more minutes. I could do 5 to 8 minutes, and I have a call at 12, so that's why I have to go. Okay, so we will just chant, just softly and sweetly. Let's do that. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Bo, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Jai Shri Hari Ram Sankirtan Mahayagna ki, Hare Krishna Mahamantra Yugadharma ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Wishing you a very blissful and Krishna conscious Diwali. If we can be of any service to you anytime, please let us know. And Nidhi Mataji, thank you. Prabhu, you also.